Let's begin with our guided meditation. You may close your eyes and sit in what may appear to you as a meditation posture, doing some deep inhaling and exhaling, finding the rhythm of your breath, and quickly scanning your body from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. Notice any tension, any agitation, any tightnesses anywhere. Send loving kindness inwardly and outwardly, adjusting your posture and the body. Your shoulders at ease, the neck and the spine aligned in upright position. Connected with this ground here and now. Since your eyes closed, you are not seeing anything externally. Same with your ears, that they are not actively looking for pleasure, distractions. Smelling, tasting, skin sensations in your skin. When these slowly fade away, you are left with your thinking, and there is nothing interesting to think about. Thinking also slowly fades away and disappears. When everything is stilled, there is this breath that has no color, no form, no shape. So your mind simply catches the attention of these movements of your breath. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. Inhaling a long breath, you are aware of it, and exhaling a long breath, you are aware of it. In the same way, when the breath is not long, medium, or short, inhaling and exhaling, you notice this. You know exactly when that happens, and you know your mind is only focused on your breathing in and breathing out, only that experience. Without trying too hard, allow things to be. Notice simply parts of your body also experiencing your breath. So being sensitive to your body as you breathe in and breathe out. Like your shoulders moving with your breath. You breathe in and breathe out. Now you almost don't feel some parts of your body. It's as if the body is disappearing and you are becoming one with the mind. Notice any stillness, tranquility, peace and calm that you are feeling right now. These are generated by your act of meditation, the wholesome deed that you began doing. So make room for these wholesome feelings without judging, embracing these fully, making it your present reality and the experience. The breath is happening and you are aware. You are not trying too hard. And the breath is slowly becoming so subtle, but you notice however subtle the breath becomes. Notice the feelings as pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings. They arise and they vanish. They are not to be owned with mental fabrication. Any feeling, they are just to be seen with true knowledge here and now, with your insight that they are just feeling. Notice any expansion that you may feel, something, some expansion of your experience right now, some awareness larger than this space here. You are arriving at equanimity, whether it's a happy feeling or an unhappy feeling. It does not matter. They are part of your life. You can connect with beings in 31 planes of existence, in the sensual world, among the animals, in humans, in heavenly beings, with a heart imbued of loving kindness. You make a wholesome wish. May all beings in all these planes of existence be well and happy. May they arrive at wisdom. May they be liberated from all suffering. You can let the world be and look at your own reaction to anything. If it is truly, really necessary, most things don't require your reaction. When you see the experience through seeing, hearing, any smelling, tasting, physical sensations and thinking that they are dependently arisen and that there is cessation in all these experiences. For new arising, and you don't see a doer, maker, you are liberated from that kind of thinking. There are beings who have done this homework and they exist in higher realms of existence. And honor their presence, whether they are here or elsewhere. They are welcome to listen to this Dhamma talk and increase their heavenly happinesses, human happinesses, and fulfill their minds. And we may as well forgive our past karmas and renew our new karmas by directing our minds toward what is wholesome, righteous, what is virtuous, moral, and abandoning what is immoral, and that way abandoning any unwholesome tendencies in our minds toward greed, hatred, and delusion. You can come out of your meditation whenever you feel ready. So today we are learning how to go to heaven. Or maybe pick a better one with the understanding that we are getting today. In Buddhist thinking, we discussed that there are these 31 planes of existence. So these are taught in various sutras, in various places. And these are all temporary existences. They are not eternal. So there is some hope for us that we can escape if we happen to be born in any one of these. And the reason I say that is because sometimes there's this teaching in other faith traditions that once you get there, you're forever there, that there's no escape. But I see the point that perhaps that they want us to have this fear and think that, no, I don't want to go there, so I may as well do good deeds. So I think the intention is to be understood rightly, that they are also trying to push us to doing good. So the concept of karma comes in these kind of teaching, that when you do good, you'll have good results. When you do bad, you'll have bad results. So karma and vipaka, result is the vipaka here. And we can now do bad things in our present life, but the problem is when you pass away, those bad deeds that you did have a way of pulling you toward or pushing you toward a bad realm, whether you like it or not. So this is why it's encouraging us to be good or do good deeds right now. And good deeds include practicing generosity, looking after elders, and learning your own responsibilities and doing them, and basically keeping your 5 precepts, not killing or harming yourself or any living beings, not stealing or not taking what is not given. You can immediately sense that when you don't do any one of these, your mind is obviously at peace. There's no resentment. There's like this. I like to say this, that true conscience is like a soft pillow. It's good for you, that you can get good sleep because you know your mind is in a good place. So you can have the best mattress, best house and all that, but if you don't have a good mind, you're not going to get good sleep. So it's very simple like that. So these teachings are teaching us just that simple teaching. So wholesome actions bring about a favorable rebirth. So the teaching of rebirth also comes to play in here. It's not just this birth, after death, there is continuity. There's a future existences. And the problem is we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we are headed. So the only guarantee we can have is what we do now can have a positive impact on others, and most importantly, within our own life. And unwholesome actions lead to an unfavorable one. So the cycle continues. If there is an unfavorable birth, the problem is how to escape it. And imagine someone in a situation where they can't get their wishes, their wish fulfilled. And in the scripture, in the sutras, we find that there are beings who have a teeny mouth, that their hunger is so big. So no matter, they have so much food around them, but they can't eat it. That helplessness. I felt that way, not when you go to a dentist, so my four wisdom teeth were removed by a friend doctor. He did all that. He and his wife did that for free. And when they injected things, you lose control of this region of your body. You can't say anything. You can't swallow anything. You just lose control completely. And I imagine what it is like to be a being in that kind of state forever, almost forever. It's very painful. You know you want to do something and you can't get it done. And the same way with patients who are intubated. There's something, a feeding tube. And they have feelings they want to express, but it's almost impossible to get these expressed. And we have been chaplains and we know we want to feed them. We want to give them water, but we know it's dangerous for them. And that's very, very painful for us. And we may fall into that pain if we are not mindful enough. So being a chaplain requires a great degree of mindfulness, not fall into the near enemy of grief. So these are actually, when we look at it that way, these are just around us, right here. That pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings are all part of our living experience. So in wider scope, there are beings who are experiencing forever unpleasant feelings and forever pleasant feelings and forever neutral feelings. And we are going to discover what these are. So we break these into 31 planes, and I will start from the lowest. And these are divided into three parts. The lowest one is hell realm. We all have heard of this. People say go to hell, but in a funny way. Sometimes they actually mean it with some anger. They say it, and we fear that it is a curse. So there's this feeling of shrinking in our being. So those who do 10 unwholesome actions, as we find in Majjhima Nikaya 41. 41 is called, let me check. It's Salayaka Sutta, Brahmans of Sala. So they are, like I said, these are scattered in various teachings. So in that we find beings who suffer in hell realm. So they have unimaginable suffering and anguish. And it's also found in other sutras like Majjhima Nikaya 129 and 130. But although they have this suffering, it's not forever, it's not eternal. Thank you. Bhante Samhita had a visitor supposed to come at 6:30. Maybe he came a little early. So 10 unwholesome actions that include not so killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, telling lies, alcoholism, and those are 5 things. There are more. Not being generous. I think I need to Google 10 unwholesome actions. They don't come to my mind. It's easy when you have internet. killing, stealing, committing sexual misconduct, false speech, divisive speech, harsh speech, idle speech, covetousness or envy, ill will, wrong view, all that in greed, hatred, and delusion. So these. And also some grave offenses like murdering your parents, murdering an arahant, that is an enlightened monk, injuring the Buddha or creating a schism among the monks, that is dividing monks into two groups, and also being quarrelsome and annoying to others. We do this all the time within our own present life existences, that we become annoying to our own siblings and whatnot. And that is actually an experience of hell right here and now. But as we mature, we realize that we were the problem. So that is one plane of existence. Some people, unfortunately, choose to live in those realms created in their own mind all their life. And that is very sad. And the second realm of existence is animal realm. Fish, insects, birds, worms, and uncountable number of animals out there. And then we wonder, how come animals are pushed into a hell realm? Sometimes they seem to have a happy life. They seem to have, they seem to have a better life than humans. We try to give them a good life. And we see that some people behave like animals. And this is a vrutta, a practice that they had at the time of the Buddha. Some chose to intentionally, deliberately live like a dog, thinking that this is the way to freedom from suffering. Excuse me. They sometimes approached the Buddha and asked, I lived my life like this, drinking, eating, sleeping like a dog, and what is my destiny? The Buddha refused to answer. And when they pushed, the Buddha said, you are definitely going to be born as a dog because of how you have trained your mind. And this is perhaps telling that animals have these stronger attachments than we do sometimes, and they cannot listen to teachings and overcome these attachments. So they are limited in their opportunities to listen to any religious teacher and escape their suffering. So, and some of these animals are born in those planes because of lack of virtue, holding to wrong views. And if one is generous, there is an easy escape that sometimes you look at your own pets. I've seen this myself, that they are so close to being humans, and we wish them, when they die, you're done, living that life. Don't be reborn in an animal realm anymore. You are so good. Be a human being and be liberated. We make that wish. So that is the second. So from hell realm, and then we go to animal realm. And then there is also the third plane of existence called hungry gods. They are unhappy spirits wandering hopelessly without any sensual fulfillment. And they are born there because of lack of virtue and holding to wrong views and committing to an unwholesome action. I have this another chart that explains these are like unhappy spirits that we sometimes sense our friends, or some people can sense their existence in houses when people have lived in a certain place for so long and they die, and obviously their spirit continues to own that place and take control of that place, and anyone trying to occupy that place begins having experiences that are telling that there is somebody else doing these things, although they are invisible, that they are mighty beings who may have a long, long, long lifespan, and they do things to threaten those new occupants, asking them to go away. And I share this experience of mine, although I've never seen any being ever. I was teaching Pali to this student. He's not from a Buddhist background. There are only two Pali students. One is a Buddhist student, and this one is from a Roman Catholic background, living in Kandy city in Sri Lanka. So only these two students were coming to the class in that university. So this one day they came and said, I have this problem. Can you help? The problem is that my mother-in-law, she loves me, and she died, and although she was Catholic, she lived loving Buddhist teaching. She read many books, but I feel like when she died, she never left the house. And there's a specific place she used to sleep, and if my friends come over and stay and I give them that room and I give them that exact mattress where she used to sleep, my friends never have a pleasant experience overnight, that someone is pushing them away and some scary experiences for them. But when he sleeps, when the son-in-law sleeps in that mattress, because she loved him, he never had any bad experience. So this went on, and so I said, okay, we are not doing Pali class today. It was in the morning, and let's go there. We took the bus and went to that house. And I said, you don't have time to offer a meal, but let's buy some food, and I will have lunch here. And I will do chanting of three sutras, Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, and Metta Sutta. And so we prepared water and a thread connecting all of us, and I had the meal and did the chanting. And after the chanting, I entered from the front door again and sprinkled water everywhere in the house, especially in that room. And after going to that room, I said, you see, you have been a good lady. This is not the place, you should be at. No, you deserve a better experience. So we did this, offering a meal to a monk and chanting the powerful three sutras. All these are gifts for you. Take them and elevate your spirit and set your mind in a better place. And it worked, as they said. So I went to the temple, and I got the call that his daughter, who was living in Singapore, has called and said for the first time after mom's passing, she felt hungry and she could eat. So she was also affected by this. And our student and friend, he said he never experienced any of that ever again. So she needed a little push. And so when we are told these things, monks are often approached for these reasons. People say, come, we are going to build a house here. We don't know who lived in this property, and we just want to make sure that it's purified. So we do a chanting, we sprinkle water. These things don't happen in the US. When you want to build a house, you build a house. Because I think you have the money for it, or the bank approves the mortgage, and you have a way to, so you just don't think too much of.
Yeah, I think that's why there are so many crazy things going on, because lots of the hidden spirits were disrupted.
Only when you look for it, but most people don't have the time to even look for such things. You just live in the house. You go to work, come back, sleep, and that's life here. But people even in Indonesia once, these people told us that there is an asura. So sura is a heavenly being, asura is a non-heavenly being. And they have sensed that there is this asura occupying the upstairs of the house, and they wanted us to do a chanting. So, and people buy houses, and it's good in the beginning, and suddenly start feeling things that are unusual. And here, I think they can invite priests from the Catholic Church, and they do holy water, and so the same ritual. So, yeah. Sometimes we never talk about these things, but you have all these ghost movies and many stories, in hospitals elsewhere. But these are nothing to fear of. These are just beings who need. If you have metta, loving kindness, all the time in your mind, and you become like in the Pali goes, amanussanam pyohoti. You become a pleasant being to non-humans. Amanusa means non-humans. And they love you. They protect you. They don't want any harm coming to you. Why? Because they see you as a refuge, you as a mighty being who's a blessing for their own life. So radiating loving kindness all the time to all beings and making loving kindness your vehicle, your mode of transportation for your heart, makes you feel safe inwardly, and also you give sense of security to those beings you don't see. And it's encouraged when you go to a hotel room or a new place. I often do this. I chant the Metta Sutta in Pali, and I feel good that you know. And we can go on and on talking about many stories like that, but I think we are sidetracking. So okay, so I discussed the fourth. Now we are getting to the fourth realm of existence. These are called demons, titans that dwell here, are engaged in relentless conflict with each other. And you know some titans in your life, relentless conflict with each other. So that also is caused by 10 unwholesome actions. These titans are called, like I said before, asuras, non-heavenly beings. So it's packed into that category because they have mighty powers, but they are still not in heavenly realm. So these are still called states of deprivation, apaya existences. So hell realm, animals, hungry shades, hungry gods, Petaloka, and asuras. And I must say, in that first realm, the hell realm has Sanjeeva hell, Kalasutra hell, Sanghata hell, Roruva, Maharoruva, Tapana, Mahatapana, and Avicii. So these names are given based on the experience. Tapana, for example, is extreme heat, and that is perhaps heat because of boiling anger or some unfulfilled desire, or heat they experience, like in the center of earth there is heat, and that is perhaps also where they love to be, that they are pulled toward that experience. So now we are going toward the fifth plane of existence. We are here in human world. So to be born as a human being is extraordinarily rare compared to all the trillions of beings out there. Only few are born as human beings. And it is extraordinarily precious as its unique balance of pleasure and pain here. and facilitates the development of virtue and wisdom to the degree necessary to set one free from the entire cycle of birth. So when you are a stream winner, that is the first path toward enlightenment, that you have gone against the stream and you have eradicated, abandoned self-view and doubts and silabhata paramas, wrong practices, thinking that they lead to awakening. So you have abandoned them. That is like going against the stream. There are many beings in the human realm holding to wrong views. And when you have let go of these, you are going against the current, basically. And that kind of being never will be born in any lower realm, only will be born in human or higher planes of existence. So it's guaranteed that all future rebirths of that person who has become a stream winner will be in the human or higher realms. And the sixth plane of existence is devas, or devas of four great kings, Chatum Maharajika Devas. So this is the home of celestial musicians, tree spirits of varying degrees of ethical purity, goblins, trolls, and fairies, like in the Western fairy tales. And the seventh realm is the 33 gods, Tavatinsa Devas. The ruler, called Sakka, is a devotee of the Buddha. He presides over this realm, and many divine beings dwelling here live in mansions in the air. And some humans can see those mansions. And the eighth plane of existence, called Yama Devas. These beings live in the air, free of all difficulties. What a good place to be, right? We always have difficulties. Mm-hmm. And ninth realm is contented Devas, Tusita Devas. So this is a place of pure delight and gaiety. And bodhisattvas abide here prior to their final human birth. Bodhisattva is someone who is going to be the Buddha. So they are content and they will be born there. And it's a long, long, long life span there. You can think of gravity and another dimensional existence. And they are born there through development of virtue and wisdom. So the next Buddha is called Maitreya Buddha, is there now in contented realm, and he dwells there until it's time for him to be born in human realm and begin his teaching. And the 10th plane of existence is those beings delighting in creation, Nimmanarati Devas. So what creation? They delight in the sense object of their own creation. So you want to think of best ice cream, for example, and you create it and you delight in it. Maybe a bad example. For the lack of not knowing what they actually create. Basically, any being in sensual plane want to please their eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the skin and the mind. So anything that delights them, they create in their own ability. So the 11th plane is those beings wielding power over the creation of others. So others create it and you delight in it. So Mara, the personification of the delusion and desire, is said to live there. Mara is often called the evil one. And when you are about to become free from suffering, this evil one comes and says, look, there is that delightful thing and this delightful thing. Why don't you indulge in those? You have more time to, live your life, Just give up the idea of enlightenment. And that happened to the Buddha. And that happens to all of us, actually. The delusion and desire overpowers and say, let's indulge a little more and no more meditation, that kind of pushing toward unwholesome. So that's a sensuous world. And from 12th, you go to the retinue of Brahma. This is called Brahma Parisajya Devas. And when you get to the first jhana, that is a level of attainment through meditation by abandoning sensual pleasure, abandoning hindrances in your mind, you get to the first jhana and you are secluded from sensual pleasure. So those beings are born there upon death. So this is why cultivating jhanas is good. So I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true, that when you have cultivated the first jhana, whether or not you cultivated it toward your ending of life, you are going to be, your mind will incline toward the first jhana and you will be born in this plane of existence, a greater existence where your lifespan will be a very, very, very long time, eons of lifespan, an uncountable time of existing there. And you can stay there until you are deteriorated and you will be born back in, based on your previous karmic forces, like wholesome, unwholesome deeds that you have done. And 13th is called also the first jhana being, that they have cultivated it to a medium degree, not like the previous one. And those previous ones did the first jhana to a minor degree. But this 13th one, they are called the ministers of Brahma, Brahma Purohita Devas. And then those who have done the first jhana to a highest degree, these are called great Brahmas, Mahabrahma. So it's a very famous existence, a deity whose delusion leads him to regard himself as the all-powerful, all-seeing creator of the universe, is said to live here. And number 15, devas of limited radiance, Parittaba devas. So those who do the second jhana, second cultivation, so that is cultivated from the first jhana. There is this samadhi, stillness, unification of your mind, and the first jhana arises from that. There's a greater happiness. Those who have done it to a minor degree will be born in limited radiance existence. And then number 16 is unbounded radiance, Appamana Bhadeva. Abha is the radiance. So those who have done the second jhana to medium degree will be born there. And then those who have streaming radiance, Abhastara Deva, they have done the second jhana to highest degree and they will have a streaming radiance and they are born here. And devas of limited glory, Paritta Subha Devas. So beings in these planes enjoy varying degrees of jhanic bliss up to the third jhana. So devas of refulgent, is that the word, refulgent?
Refulgent?
Yeah, refulgent. Are full of glory. Subhakina devas. Thank you. And very fruitful devas, Vehapala devas, fruitful in terms of their superior attainments. And there is a very peculiar existence in number 22. It's called unconscious beings, asanya satta. These are only body is present, no mind. I just can't wrap my head around the idea of existing in that form. And number 23, devas not falling away, aviha devas. Recently, this chief monk passed away, and someone said he set his mind there upon passing. And I don't know how to believe that, so I just like somebody say that. Because these terms are not being used nowadays. Atappa Devas is number 24, that they are untroubled beings. So Brahma Sahampati, who begged the Buddha to teach the teachings when the Buddha was a little reluctant, thinking that beings will not understand these teachings. So Sahampati lives there. He begged the Buddha to teach. And Sudasta Devas, number 25, these are called beautiful beings. Sudasta, they live there. So, and clear-sighted beings, number 26, and fearless devas, they don't have anything, they are not junior to any deva realm, so akanitas. So these are the five pure abodes from fruitful devas, unconscious, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually, devas aviha, atappa, sudasta, sudasti, and akanita. These are the 5 pure abodes, which are accessible only to non-returners. Non-returner is a being who does not return to the sensual realm of existence. So, and by being born there, they become enlightened. And 28 to 31, these beings who cultivate formless cultivation, infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, each have their own planes to be born. So these are called samapattis, attainments in Buddhism. The inhabitants of these realms are possessed entirely of mind, having no physical body. They are unable to hear teaching. I thought you can, well, I think to hear teachings you need an ear, but how it looks like divine beings have a divine ear. So these beings don't have that because they've cultivated their mind to infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception. And what is beyond that is no existence, cessation, complete letting go of nothing to perceive, nothing to take as non-perceiving, and you set your mind, consciousness completely free, and you are liberated.
Even Nirodha Samapati.
Beyond that.
Yeah.
Beyond even the Nirodha. Beyond the cessation. That you come out of it, you let go of even being in that cessation. So, any questions? It's 6:30 and you can also go home. Too much information. What came to your mind, or it's always interesting to me that you can think of their existence, like we discussed the Buddhist cosmology in Buddhism in our previous talk, and that's about material cosmology, like different planets and their multiverse existence. Mm-hmm. But this is more of the spiritual world, the beings born based on their karmic influences. So, yeah.
I have a question for you. I'm coming out of the Vajrayana tradition, and my girlfriend is a Pure Land practitioner. This was very helpful, first of all, to have all of these states really encompassed in one talk, because so many Dharma teachings will focus on one realm, and then you dive in and all of that. Sort of feeling about like this is helpful. I'm curious about things like some of the bodhisattvas, like for example, Guintara or Ravanukiteshvara. Where are they in this hierarchy? Are they beyond? Are they considered part of the 14? I think it was the 14th level or 15. I was sitting with that though, kind of wondering how these things fit together. And the Buddhas who in Pure Land and also in some of the Tibetan, the Vajrayana, have their own Pure Lands. Medicine Buddha has his Pure Land, Amitabha, Sukhavati. Like, if it's even fair to find a framework in this where these beings are basically abiding where they fit in, or are they sort of even beyond
peace,
farther short, beyond relative?
I think this is the word I was looking for. Pure land. It's a great question that you ask, and because we saw pure abode here, and it's a very refined state of existence, and we saw bodhisattvas who are going to be born in the future, live in number 9 as contented beings, tusita. So if tusita is pure land, it depends on what these pure land bodhisattvas are expected to do. If they reappear in the human world, that is definitely within the 31 planes of existence. And since these are developments of Buddhism, sort of later, considered later developments, not at the time of the Buddha, I think the idea of their existence is to also encourage us to set our mind there. And I would want to think that it's a pure abode. And they don't have any interest in coming back to any sensual world. If that is the case, they are going to be done there without returning. And that is encouraging for me as a person to be that way. So to let go of my greed, hatred, and delusion and join them in their wonderful existence, or not even join them and let go of that and be done completely by making the maximum use of my human existence. So it's very delicate to discuss these existences, because people really have strong belief in them, in the Chinese and Vajrayana tradition. I think I am also lacking ignorance. I have ignorance, so much ignorance, having not studied in Vajrayana to the extent necessary to give a full answer. Sometimes we need to study more. And I'm doing that, with one book that I'm reading these days. Buddhism, One Teacher, Many Traditions, has it.
Great.
Yeah, by Dalai Lama and Thubten Chodron. So it's a wonderful book. But I love that we can ask these questions and explore more.
Yeah, it's an open question. And as you were talking, I thought, what makes sense to me is the kind of consciousness, regardless of where is Green Tara, where is Avalokiteshvara, is more mind grasping. The qualities that are being cultivated to help maybe my own consciousness sort of out of the human realm into the non-eternal. Like that maybe is where those later traditions will look back, speak and say, here is some skillful means and ways to refine your mind, your consciousness, so as to become a non-eternal, and using relative ways to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we bow to them for their purity of existence. Right. And it's a thing we do in Sri Lanka, in Buddhist world, and that we think that they are blessing us when we do good, when we meditate, that they sometimes also visit us and say, you're doing good, but only when you are receptive to it, you will know. So, yeah, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Any more questions? Yeah.
How often is this event? Is once per month?
Yes, I have done this every week, and I now only like to do them once a month.
I would suggest the next topic maybe on anger, because recently to be frank, lots of anger, because of everything going around.
Yep. Yeah. So let it be so. We'll discuss about anger. Yeah. Okay, let's transfer merit. Okay. May the suffering ones be suffering free, fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief. May all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting earth and celestial beings receive our merit, and may they protect us, guide us, guard us, and may they liberate from all suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so you can stay and chat, but those who have other commitments can